right. All right, everybody, welcome. Making sure I was not muted. Welcome to Lunch Bunch, Tuesday edition. We have two rockstar teachers with us today. One, Christy Sanders, kindergarten teacher extraordinaire from Symsonia Elementary. And we have Anna Beadles, teacher at GCHS. Sorry, Anna. Here to share choice boards with us today. So you're going to hear a little bit about HyperDocs from Christy Sanders, and then Anna's going to talk about choice boards and really great stuff. So if you have any questions, please make sure you put those in the chat, and we will interject and interrupt them and ask those questions, and they will gladly answer them for you. And I'm sure at the end, if you have further questions, they will be more than glad to answer those. You can just email them. And without further ado, Christy, would you like to share a little bit about HyperDocs with us?
Sure, I will. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I can show you a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and jump into how I create the HyperDocs. So I use Google Docs or Google Slides. I do prefer Google Slides if I am going to show somebody how to do it. I think that it's a great primary resource. The reason I like Google Slides is because it has that number sequence on the side so students can see what they have to do first, second, third, fourth. It also serves as a checklist for them. They know when they've clicked the slide that they're on to the next one and how many that they have left. And just for pacing purposes, if they see they have 8 slides, they know about how much that they're going to have to do and when might be a good break, maybe after slide 4, etc. So it's just good for a primary stance with that sequence on the side. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about why to use them, like why it's worth your time. In this picture right here, I have a Screencastify going for a student. So I'm literally copying and pasting myself as a teacher to everyone in my room. So instead of saying instructions to individual kids, they can watch me as many times as they need. So they've got instructions, they have examples, I'm teaching, and I'm going over answers. And so to be able to have 20 of me versus 1 of me is a huge pro.
And Christy, I love that because with that, you can differentiate with that. You know, you may have one kid that can watch it one time and they're ready to go, but you may have that student that needs it 2 or 3 times and they have it, you know, and so it's that multiplier of the teacher is so powerful.
Yes, I say all the time, go watch it one more time, see if maybe you can see it again. So another thing is they're able to practice, learn, and assess themselves with immediate feedback. So they're not waiting on a teacher or a peer to say, you got it right. They're getting immediate feedback from different websites like Quizzes and Kahoot and etc. So they're able to get that immediate feedback of, I got it wrong, I got it right, how can I fix it? Another thing is you can easily embed co-teaching, like in the classroom. If I have a special education teacher with me, or if my kindergarten assistant isn't here with me, they're able to run a group, centers. They're able to go into a slide and be in charge of a certain slide so that I can be somewhere and they can be somewhere and we're all working together without me saying, do this, or me having to micromanage. It's a lot easier to have that co-teaching aspect already built into the HyperDoc. The main one for me is the efficiency. So there's the least amount of instructional time lost, in my opinion here. So I'm not having to wait to give instructions to the whole class. Somebody's in the bathroom, somebody's dropped their pencil box for the second time, they're picking it up. You know, I'm able to, they have those on-screen directions. They have the images on there. They have me talking on there. So I don't have to wait for them to get to the next task. They are able to move on at their own pace, whether that's slower than everyone, on target, or faster than everyone else. So there's no sitting around and waiting, which is really nice. And then last but not least,
Christy, I was going to brag on that for just a second, and you're probably going to get to that next question, but the differentiation piece available in HyperDocs is huge, because we know if we can do that at a kindergarten level, we could do that anywhere. And I would say that is one thing teachers, me included, you always struggled with, like, when do I move on? Because you got some kids still working, other kids are finished. And so I love that piece of HyperDocs, in that it drives itself and kids can move on to the next task without you stopping the entire class. So I see that as super beneficial of keeping learning moving forward all the time.
And I want to add, like, it's also a great way to scaffold. So you can, you can intro that learning, and then you can build upon that, in this case with slide by slide. Kids at the end can be creative. They can have a create task. There's so many different ways to do HyperDocs. So there's not a wrong way. So that's another thing that I love about them. And I agree, as a kindergarten teacher at heart, slides is really the best way for those little ones, because it's so good at, keeping them organized.
Definitely. And then that in-person learning, I use it in person. So I use it as centers in person. My students are all, like, a lot of them are on the computer, but I'm pulling a group and they're not missing out on anything, because they're going to go right back into where they left off when they're done with my group. If they're with an aide, then they're working with that group, and then they can go right back into where they left off at. There's no lapse in time there. So I'm able to work in person while they're still doing other things. We can accomplish so much more in a small amount of time with the HyperDoc than I can teaching every one whole group.
Okay, but you talk about the primary classroom. That's really what we could be doing in middle school and high school classrooms as well. So let's say we gave an assessment the day before, we need more practice. So I'm going to shoot out this HyperDoc, whether I use slides or to give kids more practice. Maybe they're ready for assessment, but while they're working, then I am pulling even big kids up to me to reteach content, because we never seem to have enough time. So I love that piece. But what we want with the HyperDocs is not busy work. You want it to be something meaningful for students, but that choice is huge. So just wanted to add that on the secondary side.
Yes. And then a big reason, especially this year to use a HyperDoc is because I did this in the beginning, when we switched to virtual learning, they're accustomed to getting on Google Classroom. They're accustomed to clicking that slide. And I'm not able to pull a small group in person, but they're able to do that HyperDoc in order. So they're still getting videos of me. They're still getting video practice, video instruction, Zooms, and then they have all of those different resources on there to click and go and do. So it's an easy in person to go into virtual learning as well. I'm going to go ahead and move on to, these are the resources that I use. These are a few of them. I'm not going to bore you and read them to you, but if you wanted to scan and see kind of what is going on in my HyperDocs, those are a lot of the resources that I use. And then there's no better way to get interested and to inspire somebody else to do it than to just see how it works. So I'm going to pull up a couple of the ones that I have going, and that might interest you on how to create your own.
And Christy, and I'll also add, if you just Google HyperDocs or HyperDocs and whatever you're teaching or what grade level, there are a ton of free HyperDocs out there for inspiration. There are templates out there, excuse me. And if you're just like totally lost, like that is a great way to start. Just Google it and you're going to get a lot of information on HyperDocs.
Right. So this is the one that I have going for NTI in kindergarten right now. This is my student's assignment this week. So on the first slide, I always kind of gear it to parents, because I want the parents to, a lot of the times kids are more familiar with the computer than the parents are. So I've got a video of my voice explaining exactly what the assignments are, how to access it, and what to click. So they have an alphabet recognition video, so you can embed the YouTube videos that you would show in class on a normal day. You can embed those into your HyperDoc. So instead of showing it to the whole class at one time, where maybe 75% of your students are paying attention, let them click it on when they are ready, so that they can give the 100% of their attention. I have embedded Lexia, so that all they have to do is click their link and log in right here. It has those on-screen directions for parents to help them. And then this is actually a Screencastify. We do these letter sound symbol cards in class. I'll click that so you can see a little bit of what that looks like.
Girls, at this time, I want us to go through all of our letter sound cards. So do them with me. Hands up. Here we go. Apple.
So that's something that we do in class. So they're hearing a familiar voice. And
Is that my video?
It is not. No,
Okay.
me and Miss McIntosh made it.
I did make one. I was like, oh my gosh, that looks really familiar.
Yeah, I
Just share
want
that
the
with y'all.
kids to be able to hear our voices so they feel like, they're really involved in what the normal routine is. So it's a little extra fun. So they do that. They hear our voice. And then a normal decodable reader, we copied and pasted that to a Google Slide so they can go in there and read those. And then it has a parent video instruction as well for parents to hear what the expectations are in our own voices. The normal comprehension story that we are reading this week, and it has some different prompting comprehension questions. And that AR test link, all of these are links for parents and kids to click. Splash Learn, videos that we were learning about, Epic, our Zoom links, and our sight word practice. These are also sight words, so you can hear like the teacher's voice once again.
All right, guys, we're going to go over sight word list 3. When you see the word, say the word, and then we're going to say it to see if you got it correct. Try to get the word out before we say it.
So, Christy, this is so good because even if I'm in school with kids in person, I can still use this on the daily. Like, this is working smarter, not harder, and I have it forever. So if we do go to NTI or a snow day again, I've got it ready, but like, this is phenomenal, just practice in general, whether you're in person. And so all you teachers out there, as you're thinking about, don't think about it adding to your plate. How can this be organized to where no matter what, when needed, I can utilize that? Like, you've made it and taken the time, but you'll be able to have it forever.
Right. Yeah. These set word sites, the sets of those, they last forever. It took me a few minutes to make them, but now I'm going to have them for forevermore. And those are all of the sight words that we use for the whole year after year. So it really, in the classroom as a time filler, or if they need that extra practice, here you go. Here's my voice in front of you for in the classroom, not just during NTI. All right, I also have one. I wanted to show you a different way to look at it. So this is actually a student sample, so you can see what the kids are doing on there. Sometimes I make it where they manipulate the slides themselves, and that gives me the ability to give them that feedback on there as well. So on this one, they actually manipulate the pieces. So like these yellow pieces can be moved. And so they're making synonyms and antonyms for their vocabulary words. So I go in there and check that work, and I can even highlight it and give them feedback on there. Great job, or look at this one, and they can go back and make edits on there. Quizzes is that immediate feedback, once again, data for the teacher. And they can also have text box spots where they can type their own words. So they're using vocabulary words in a sentence. So I might go through here and we would talk about some spelling issues or different things depending on what I was looking for. But I really am only looking for that vocabulary word here. These are introductory videos that they can watch to refresh. Task cards. So this one I did it in person. So one of these slides, they're going to get up, they know to get materials and do their task cards around the room. Quizzes for the immediate feedback. They're going to listen to the story and Epic. But I really wanted you to see how they have a spot where they're participating with the HyperDoc as well. That's part of their assessment data.
I love that, Christy. And like I said, we are running fast on time today. So, because we have so much to share. And if anybody has any questions about HyperDocs, I'm sure Christy wouldn't mind you emailing her and, asking her some questions. She'd be a great resource to help you get started with those. but thank you so much, Christy. And if anybody wants any of her resources, you can reach out to me or her, and we can help you along that way. So, Anna, you ready to tell us all about your awesome choice boards?
Yes, I am. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so of course, mine is a little more geared towards the secondary side of things. But in all honesty, choice boards are not, they're definitely not new in the world of education, but in the world of NTI, there's a lot of different ways that you can do choice boards. And what me and my partner in crime, Heather Miller, have done is with their recent unit that we're covering, writing informational texts, they got to decide what kind of product that they wanted to do for their unit. So let's see. Okay, so before I even get to that though, I wanted to say that first and foremost, engagement is key no matter what, especially in the high school setting, especially in the NTI high school setting, because as we all know, there's only so many things that you can do with them being at home and us being here. It's just not quite the same. So the point that I'm trying to make is that you need to make sure that you allow them to kind of engage in what you guys are doing in class. And so I have my Bitmoji over here saying or thinking, I wish I could have a little say in what I do in class. And so, and that's the whole reason of going and doing the choice boards anyway. And so what we decided to do, and here's the actual choice board that we had them, they got to choose from. In the past, all we've really done is had them do research papers where they research a topic and they write about the topic in just your regular, traditional format. But we decided that, hey, this would be a really great opportunity for us to get them to kind of explore their options and see what else is out there other than just the, regular, straight, traditional research paper. And so we offered them to create a blog about their project, do the paper. You can do a video, write a 15-page ebook, which we consider that to be like a children's version of an ebook. So they can include images and even include like music in there with it. They could create a podcast about their subject, or they could even create a dramatization of an event, like as in a play format. So we wanted them to have as much choice as possible without losing the side of the actual skill that we wanted them to focus on with their standards. And so we wanted to make sure that, because we knew that this was going to be something that we're going to be working on for a while, they would stay engaged. And so even though we decided to do choice boards, they always had the opportunity to kind of make it their own.
Anna, let me just interrupt real fast and say how important it is to provide for that choice for students, because you may have a student that might not be interested in writing, but if you give them a choice to do a podcast or a way to use their creativity, they're going to give more to you. They're going to show you more, and it doesn't really matter how they get there. It's what matters is the mastery. And if they get the mastery, who really cares how they got there? You gave them that choice, and they're going to really give you more when they have that choice.
And when your main standard is just for them to know how to research things, it doesn't truly matter what the product is, as long as they can show me without a doubt that they know how to research a subject. And so to us, it just was a no-brainer. And we gave them this project right before we went to NTI. And so we were like, this is awesome. This is the perfect way for them to stay engaged with us for the amount of time that we're going to be out. And I will say this go around with NTI has been phenomenal compared to March, mostly because of this project, because they were so excited, not just about the subject that they chose to do, but also the product that they chose to come up with. They literally have been telling me that they choose to do this assignment as kind of like an escape from other things, which is really neat to see. So whenever I do choice boards, me and Miss Miller decided to do a Google site, and this is one of the Google sites that we made. And so for each lesson, we knew we were going to have to create different activities and assignments for them to do in order to make, to keep the pacing and that kind of thing up until the time that until they turn it in. And so this is one example of one of the choice boards that we gave them. So we called this the Map It Out choice board. And this was just like the planning phases of their project. And so up here we have the main product or the main prompts that we wanted to make sure that they answered in their project. And then down here, we have different little activities and assessments and or assignments, not really assessments, but assignments for them to do based on their choice of which product that they chose to do. So for example, if they decided they wanted to create a blog, we would have it kind of scaffold to where the first thing that they would do is like an introduction to what a blog is and the different components of a blog, what a blog should sound like, that kind of thing. And then,
okay, so Anna, this
Yeah.
is phenomenal. And this is where a lot of teachers get frustrated because they have really great choices. And then the kids come up with blah, like a
Right.
blog that's not very good, a podcast that's not very good, because we haven't put the supports in place to show them what a good blog or what a good podcast or what a good research looks like. So I love, love, love that you've put the resources right here for them to access that information. So good
Yeah.
job.
So like we would have, like we'll click here for a video and then they'll watch like a little 3-minute video of what is a blog. And after they watch that little video, it says to click here to begin mapping out your 3 blog posts and any multimedia you want to include in your blog. So me and Miss Miller created these little assignments for them. And for each assignment, we would give them the directions on what to do. And then within there, they would have their outlines ready to go. And they can include images and videos over to the side. And they would turn this into Schoology. And that would be a way for us to kind of keep track of, okay, they're actually, they're really doing well with this. They're just going right along. Or, oh, we need to stop and have a conference with this kid, or, whatever the case may be. And so that was just for the blog. And then this next one, it'll pop up. This next one, and this is what it looks like on the teacher side of things whenever you create a Google site, by the way. I chose to do a Google site just because it's very user-friendly. And it's a really nice way to just have all the options on one slide or on one page, and then they just choose the one that fits whatever choice they decided to do. And so like for the research paper, I showed them an example of an outline for a research paper here. And it takes a little bit to load, but yeah, there's an outline of a research paper there for them to look at. And I told them that they could use this as a guide whenever they create their own, but it should be formatted about the same way. And then speaking of format, because research papers are very, format based, especially when you have no idea how to do it. I went ahead and made a screencastify of myself modeling how to format their outlines and their papers later on. And then finally, they would have a document for them to create their outline for that one. And so every single one of these, we made sure to kind of scaffold to where you have the model, you have the example, and you have a place to actually start on your own outline from there. And then down here, you have the ebook, what is an ebook, how to create an ebook. And then again, we would give them like a planning sheet. So for every page, they would include the content that the reader will learn, what image do you plan to put on that page, or any extra info. And so it's just a really easy way for them to kind of outline how and plan out exactly what they want to do piece by piece in their project. So by the time that they get to actually executing and applying that knowledge, it will be super easy for them because they've already done the harder work before. So it's really, really helpful whenever you have this choice board. I don't really consider this a choice board because by this point they've already decided which product they're going to do. But you have like a step-by-step process of exactly what to do and know exactly how to map it out and that kind of thing.
Hannah, this is good stuff. And think of this as this Google site is here for you to use next year and to share with colleagues. And you didn't make this in isolation, and you collaborated with a fellow teacher, and that makes it that much better. I think whenever we collaborate and we work together, great things happen. So I love this choice board. I love the HyperDocs, and I know it's 11:27. So I know we were extra hungry today for lunch bunch. That's why we went over a little longer. But if you have any questions about this choice board or creating a Google site, Anna would definitely, I think, be willing to help you in that process. And I will speak for myself that Google Sites is pretty easy to work with, and it's not a hard tool. So if you want to step into the Google site world, then we're here to support you in that. But I want to thank Christy and I want to thank Anna for joining us on Lunch Bunch today. Totally two ends of the spectrum, but tools that everybody can use. So if a kindergartner can do it, then anybody can do it. So I love to preach that. So join us Thursday at 11 o'clock, and we will have our last Lunch Bunch of 2020. We will be talking about boom cards and how to even start from the beginning with that. So it's going to be a cool show on boom cards. So thank you all for joining us, and